filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win.
Welcome to Dave's Doghouse, people. I know it's been a couple of weeks since, you've seen me on Dave's Doghouse, but it's going to be a great show today. I'm live right now on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I am 10 subscribers away from 100 subscribers, so do whatever you can to subscribe to the show so I can get to 100 subscribers. Let's get it for today. I can't wait to show you guys what I have in store for you today. Who's going to be eating puppy chow? Who's finally going to have their first day out? And who are the big dogs? But we're going to start this show a little differently than normal. We're going to start with some honorable mentions today. And whether you're an honorable mention, you're in the doghouse, or you're a dog, we turn up.
Turn me up, 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 up.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it, people. I hope you're enjoying your lunch. You're eating well wherever you are. But it's time to get started with the honorable mentions. First honorable mention I have is a guy who used to play for Ohio State University, did not look good while he was in Ohio State, transferred to Syracuse, and now looks like he's where he needs to be. The transfer portal has been something that's been used very often, and the way it goes now for college football, college basketball, college sports, period. I've seen the transfer portal in baseball, seen it in volleyball. It's everywhere in college now. Everybody uses it. But this guy right here has pretty much got some eyes looking at him now that he's now in Syracuse, and that's Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord is a guy who's had some very successful games as of late. His last game against Georgia Tech, which was considered an upset, seeing as though Georgia Tech is now ranked 23rd in the country. He led this team to a 31-28 win, putting up 300, completed 32 of 46 passes, 381 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a QBR of 82. Wonderful numbers. And he had some help with the running game with LaQuint Allen, who had 15 carries for 83 yards. But let's be honest, Kyle McCord led this team to that win because they had no rushing touchdowns. He had 2 receivers that he threw two touchdowns to each. That's Rondé Gadsden II and Trevor Pena. They both had 32-yard catches and both had 2 touchdowns. So that was a really good game from Kyle McCord. And then he had another game before against Ohio, which was a game that I'm pretty sure everyone expected him to win. Completing 27 to 39 of his passes, 354 yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception, and an 84.2 QBR. Another really good game by Kyle McCord. So that's the first of the, is what I consider the honorable mentions. Another honorable mention I have is Northern Illinois University, with a big upset against Notre Dame this past Saturday, beating them 16-14 in South Bend. They weren't very efficient on third down, but they did go for it twice on fourth down, completing one of those. They had more total yards than they did, more passing yards, more rushing yards. They had the same amount of penalties. They made Notre Dame commit 2 turnovers in that game. Two turnovers. My goodness. Northern Illinois pulled up a really good upset on the road, controlled the time, had about 35 minutes, controlled the time of possession, had about 35 minutes of play time on the field, averaging about 10 yards per pass. This was a really good game by Northern Illinois, and I think they deserve some praise for having a really good game against a team that was ranked top 5 in the country, and they went on the road and beat Notre Dame. Great job by Northern Illinois. Then another honorable mention that I have is a young guy in Tennessee. Now, if I botch his last name, I apologize, but this is just what I have at the moment. Nico Iamaleava. Iamaleava. For quarterback for Tennessee. Last game is against NC State when they won 51-10. Completed 16-23 of his passes, 211 yards, 9.2 yards pass, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 76 QBR. And then the game before against UTC, he threw for 314 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a QBR of 81.6, completing 22 of 28 of his passes. So really, 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 really good game for Nico and Tennessee. Looks like to be a promising team. They're right now ranked 14th in the country. I believe that ranking is going to change a little bit as well, with some teams in the top 5 and the top 10 losing. Florida State lost again, and Notre Dame losing that game. So who knows what's going to happen with this ranking when it comes to this team. But Tennessee definitely looks like a promising team in the SEC right now. They have for the last few years, but it looks like this year is going to be another good year for them. Now, let's get started with someone who's finally going to be out of the doghouse. As you see, I have a plethora of people in the doghouse right now. There's some guys that have just come in there. Now the GM for the New York Giants, I'm more likely he's going to be there for a while. He may have someone joining him pretty soon. Noah Lyles. Then you got Team USA 3x3. Those were the latest ones to enter into the doghouse. Pittsburgh Pirates, we know how that's gone out for them, even though they have one of the better pitchers in the league right now, Paul Skeens, who's playing phenomenal as a rookie right now, but the team is just not holding up for him. But there's this one guy that may not stick out to you. And unless you watch racing, you wouldn't know who he is. But Lando Norris, he had some criticism after winning a Grand Prix earlier in the season, and then continuing to be in pole position and then lose it. Everyone's like 3 straight races he lost and he was in pole position just because he didn't take advantage of his opportunity. Well, in the Dutch Grand Prix, Lando Norris won again. He was in pole position, and he took advantage of everything he needed to do to make sure he secured a win for McLaren. McLaren got another W in the books with Lando Norris. I know they had another W before, which is another one of the races that he squandered to his teammate, but he squandered the lead. And now he gets another W. Lando Norris is one of the most exciting young racers in F1 racing, and he now is out of the doghouse. Lando, great job. You are a young phenomenon right now, and you can very well take over the F1 racing along with some other young drivers. We know Max is the guy that everybody looks at most of the time. Lewis Hamilton is another guy to look at. But Lando, great job getting out of the doghouse, my man. And for that, you will get a doghouse cry. So great job, Lando. And now it gets to the interesting part of the deal when we talk about the doghouse. Who will be eating puppy chow for the doghouse? Who might it be? There's some interesting things that have gone on during the WNBA season. And one of the Hall of Famers, one of the better players in the WNBA, have succumbed to one of what the things what we call criticism towards another player in the league, and it's a player that a lot of the older WNBA players who are either playing or no longer playing seem to have criticized a lot, and that's Caitlin Clark, who looks like she's going to be, without a doubt, the Rookie of the Year for the WNBA this year. She's brought in a lot of attendance for this team, and I'll talk about her and another teammate of hers later. But Cheryl Swoops, you are beloved in the WNBA community. Don't get me wrong. You're one of the greater players to have played in the WNBA. But you are not. You're not going to be excused from not getting any criticism yourself. There was something that you said about Caitlin Clark, and you said something about her age and the way that she played in college and how different it's going to be in the WNBA. Well, for one, I think it's better that when you fact check, when you talk about the age of someone, you actually know what you're talking about. Because Caitlin Clark is not 25 years old. She's 22. She's young, just like all the other young ladies in the league. She's not that old. She played 4 years in college, just like she was supposed to. Because I think only after your junior year you can actually go into the league. And she decided to come back for her senior season, and she's the greatest college scorer in college basketball history, not just women's but men's. So all of college basketball, Caitlin Clark is who it is. What up, Theo? Welcome to Dave's Doghouse, my man. Hope you enjoy your very first show of watching Dave's Doghouse. So, Cheryl Swoops, like I said, Caitlin Clark has played phenomenal. Now, she did have some bumps and bruises in the beginning of the year, but if you look at what she's done after the All-Star break, and she said something. She said something when she found out she was not going to be at the Olympics. She said they released a monster. What has she done since then? You'll find out later. You'll find out sooner or later. But just know that Cheryl Swoops, you are now going to be eating your words because, for one, you did not know what you were talking about, and she's not. She's also dominating in the WNBA right now. They're even putting her in MVP conversations at this moment, and this is her rookie season. I think it's without a doubt that she's doing what she's supposed to do in the WNBA. So, Cheryl Swoops, as I said before, you are one of the known WNBA players in history, and we love you for what you've done with the WNBA and your basketball career. You're a basketball savant. But you have to know what you're talking about before you go on a podcast and say something about a player that's currently playing and you don't have your facts straight. You got to be right about it. She's doing what she needs to do, and she's young. She was not 25 or 20-some years old playing against 18-year-olds. She was not. She was a college player in college at her right college age playing against other college players. Let's not criticize her for that anymore. Can we please stop that? Give her credit when her credit is due. Criticize her when she needs to, but give her credit when it needs to be there as well. So, Cheryl Swoops, although we love you, welcome to the doghouse.
My guy, you in the doghouse.
All right, that's it for Cheryl Swoops. Now we got to move to baseball. So there's a guy in baseball who my guy Carl will be very familiar with. Not sure if he's watching right now, but Carl, this guy used to be a part of your team, and he's now a part of one of the most hated teams in baseball. In his latest game, which was Sunday night. Yes, Sunday night, where he allowed the most runs in a start since 2017. Justin Verlander, in 3 innings pitched, he allowed 8 hits, 8 earned runs, a walk, and 0 strikeouts. Justin Verlander, my guy, you're known as a champion, but you ain't playing like one right now. Tell you that right now. You're not playing like one. You played absolutely horrendous in that game on Sunday. You played absolutely terrible. Not only did you play terrible in that game, your last 10 games have not been very well for you right now, Justin Verlander. You are 2-5 with an ERA of 5.68 with only 48 strikeouts and 10 appearances. That does not bode well for your team. You were considered an ace. You have other guys coming up that will be in the lineup to help the Astros. We know the Astros are like I said, it's one of the most hated teams, if not the most hated team in the majors. And you're not making it any better because you're playing terrible. You're playing absolutely terrible, Justin Verlander, and you got to do better. You want another shot at a World Series title, you got to do better. Because you're not helping them at all. You're actually hurting them a lot more than you're helping them. Some people love that because you're, like I said, you're playing against somebody that you're playing for a team that a lot of people don't like. But I think you're a fan favorite, honestly. And right now, the way you're covering your face, you might need to be doing that a little bit more often because you're just not playing good. So, Justin Verlander, you also get the call that a lot of people get. Welcome to the doghouse.
My guy, you in the doghouse.
All right. So, I mean, that's just what it is. Got to be honest about what you're doing, man. So, I'm just not sure what to say for you. And then we move to college football. And this is one of the things I love to talk about when it comes to a rival team for my college football team. If you don't know me by now, I root for the University of Miami. It's always been one of my favorite teams. We all know who has the greatest college football team in history, and that's the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, who had Clayton Portis on there, Jeremy Shockey, Ed Reed, Mike Rump. There was a lot of guys, Phillip Buchanan, Jonathan Vilma. We had some Santana. We had some great guys that played for that 01 team. My goodness. I can go off so many names. But this team, Florida State University. Woo! Florida State University. This right here. This right here. gives me so much joy to see how you guys continue to fold. And you went and got a quarterback who got replaced multiple times, and you thought he was going to do well in Florida State. And I'm not going to lie, I thought you guys would win these 2 games just because of the pure talent you have around this guy. But clearly, it ain't enough because he's still playing horrible. Florida State University. Oh, my goodness. Where do I start when it comes to Florida State? You guys lost 2 games back to back, and you were ranked top 10 in the country. First game you lost was against Georgia Tech. Now, that was a pretty close game. You only lost by 3 points, but in the end, you were a top 10 team, and you lost to an unranked Georgia Tech, who just got upset by Syracuse this past Saturday. Then you go home to Tallahassee, and you play Boston College. And what happens in that game? Well, let's just say that your quarterback, DJ, I'm not going to try his last name. I'm sorry. It's not easy for me to get it. Had one of his worst games of his career with a QBR of 31. Horrendous. 1 touchdown and an interception, of course. 21 of 42, 272, and he looked bad almost the entire. He couldn't get anything right. He missed players wide open that were in the end zone. He missed 2 or 3 touchdowns that he had in that game. He not the answer. You might want to look for someone else. You might want to go back into the transfer portal and find someone, because I don't think he's the answer. Whoever your backup is, you probably got a better chance of winning games with him than you do with DJ. Let's just be honest about it. It ain't working out for you right now, Florida State. I'm happy it's not working out for you, because that just means it works out better for us. But Florida State, you look bad. You look bad. Now, of course, you have an opportunity to get out of this and win some games, of course, and stay ranked, or get back into higher rankings. But it looked like it's going to be a long road for you guys for the rest of the season. So, Florida State, let's not make the people wait. Welcome to the doghouse, Florida State.
My guy, you in the doghouse.
Woo! It gives me so much joy. And then I have another one that's going to give me some joy, because it just warms my heart. Like I said, when rival teams of my team just lose. And I just talked about a team that beat you guys, who was my honorable mention. Oh, you thought I wasn't going to reveal it? Oh, yeah. Notre Dame. Yeah, Yeah, Notre Dame. You guys lost 16-14 at home in South Bend after you had a tough win. Don't get me wrong, you had a really good win in week 1. But you lost at home. Your home opener in this season against Northern Illinois. You lost in South Bend. Ooh. You were terrible on third down. You were 3 of 10 on third down. 163 total passing yards throughout the game. Horrendous. 123 rushing yards. Not bad for a team. Okay. Not bad. And then you had 2 turnovers. It was 2 picks you threw. Your quarterback threw 2 interceptions. And you were a top 5 team. Top 5 in the country, losing to an unranked team. Now we know this happens sometimes, but to me, it just means more when it's a team that you despise the most that ends up being in the doghouse. So Notre Dame, you can fight on all you want, but you're gonna be fighting in the doghouse for right now. You're gonna be fighting for some puppy chow along with these other people. So hey, it's a one bowl in there. Y'all figure out who's gonna get the scraps. who's going to eat the most? Y'all figure it out. Notre Dame has, a great history in college, but right now, don't look so good. So that's just what I got for the doghouse. So Notre Dame, welcome to the doghouse.
My guy, you in the doghouse.
Warms my soul when I'm able to talk about a team like that. All right, I'm gonna take a quick commercial break, and then I'll talk about the big dogs. So, see you in a little bit.
Yo, my name is Lambo Anlo.
This is Dimitri.
This is Ed Hahn.
My name is Daryl Julian, and this is
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Refuse to Lose Sports.
Refuse to lose sports.
Mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we live in different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it. They told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie. I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Apply myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Apply myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse.
All right, we're back. Thank you for watching the commercial. Those are the other shows on the R2L network. As you see, this is Dave Doghouse. I am a part of the R2L network. I'm also a co-host of the R2L Show. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe on that channel. And become a member if you want to join our Instagram chats full of sports chats where we talk about everything. We bring up great news, great updates. We will have a show later on today at 7 p.m. where we will talk about the Tyreek Hill situation. So you might want to tune into that. So tune in. We have CTC, FFC, RBO in the red corner, baseball with Teddy. We have a plethora of shows on the R2L network, and you definitely want to tune in. So now we get to the good part where we talk about the big dogs, the ones that get the most praise and get the most time to be talked about in their respective sport. First up, you got to talk about a guy who was highly recruited this past off season when it comes to college football. He originally committed to Georgia, which was one of the higher ranked teams, is the number one team in the country right now. But he actually went to go somewhere else. He instead committed to Nebraska, and he's led them to a 2-0 record so far. Dylan Raiola, Baby Mahomes, that's what they call him. Mahomes even called him Little Cuz. This is who we talking about, Baby Mahomes. Yes, Dylan Raiola is starting off his freshman career, his college career, off to a really good start. Very first game versus UTEP, he threw for 238 yards and 2 touchdowns with a QBR of 76.3. It's not great. Okay, I get it. But he led this team to a 40-7 win against UTEP. Now, we expect that because it's UTEP. But that's not the game I really want to talk about. That's just something that he did in his very first week. In the very next game against Colorado, a team that a lot of people have been looking at. You see Shedeur Sanders, they're saying that he's going to be the first quarterback taken overall. You know, you got Deion Sanders over there, Shiloh, Travis Hunter, who's looking at to be a Heisman favorite, especially after the first game where he had 3 touchdown catches. And my goodness, he looked awesome in that first game. And it was a tough game for Colorado. But Colorado looks like the same team we saw last year. And Nebraska took full advantage of that, beating them 28-10, making it look easy. And it was actually 28-0 in the first half. Now, Nebraska didn't score in the second half, but they didn't need to. The defense was good enough, and Dylan Raiola did what he needed to do in the first half, completing 23 of 30 for just 185 yards and a touchdown. Dylan Raiola is doing what he needs to do to help Nebraska get back to old Nebraska Cornhusker football. Dylan Raiola is a dog to me, man, and he also is able to use his legs sometimes, just like Mahomes. And if you look at how he walks and how he plays, it looks exactly like Patrick Mahomes. Like, I know we heard about Caleb Williams and we say he looks like Mahomes, but if you look at Dylan Raiola, just his face, his hair, he looks the part. He even has the same number as Patrick Mahomes. I think it's without a doubt we know who he plays. He parts his game after. It's Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league in the NFL right now, and he looks like he's going to be a problem in college football and a problem in the NFL whenever he gets there. So Dylan Raiola, my guy, you are a dog. So welcome to the dogs, Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola, dog. Has a good ring to it. Now, I said that we were going to talk about this young lady and her teammate later. That moment is now. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. This is a duo that has been on fire since after the All-Star break. In the very first 5 games of the All-Star break, both Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell have both scored 20-plus points each in that game. Caitlin Clark herself has the most assists in the season this year with 304 assists so far this year. Friday's game against the Minnesota Lynx was on Ion, even while the Eagles game with the Packers was also on TV. They still generated over 1 million views in that game. It's Caitlin Clark has statistically the second best season in the entire WNBA over the last 30 days. That's behind Asia Wilson, who looks like she's going to be the MVP again this season. Caitlin Clark, her second triple-double also made her the third player in WNBA history to finish a game with 20-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 10-plus assists, and 3 steals. She joined Alyssa Thomas and Chelsea Gray. She is also the 6th player in WNBA history to have multiple career triple-doubles. She is also a part of another duo, Aaliyah Boston, to have a 20-point double-double in the same game. And that's happened in July with Aaliyah Boston and the other night. So that should tell you something about that. She also reached 100 threes in 34 games, which is the quickest in WNBA history. First player in WNBA history to have 200 assists and 103 points made in a season. She's breaking records. I think it's without a doubt that she's going to win Rookie of the Year. She has the most 25-5 games in a single season, which is 12 right now. And that's tied for Breonna Stewart, who did that last year, who won the MVP last year. So you can see why Caitlin Clark is in the MVP conversation. Kelsey Mitchell, her and Caitlin Clark are the only two to have back-to-back games coming from the All-Star break. 5 games of 20-plus points scored. Kelsey Mitchell. Caitlin, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey in one night all scored 20 plus points. They have been really good. These two are fueling this team, along with Aaliyah Boston, fueling this team to be where they are now in the standings. And they need a lot of praise. We know how good Caitlin Clark is, but Kelsey Mitchell needs a lot more love. She has been dominating. I think she has the most 20-point games since the All-Star break. That's more than her own teammate, Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark, y'all are dogs. So y'all get the dog call. All right. Now back to football. Let's talk about another guy who plays for a particularly known franchise whose head coach is no longer there. He's now gone to do broadcasting in college football. He's a part of College Game Day. Nick Saban is gone. But there's a player on his team that has played phenomenal and played great in his very first game. 17 years old. 17-year-old Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams, wide receiver for Alabama. And his first game against Western Kentucky University had 2 catches for 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and his longest catch in that game was 84 yards. In his second game against USF, and this was a very tough game for Alabama and USF, and it was close throughout the entire game for real. I think it was like 16 to 10 or 16 to 14 or something like that, with like 8 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. And then Alabama just blew them out 42-16 in the end. Ryan Williams contributed in that because he had a 43-yard catch, 4 catches for 68 yards in the TUD. It's some really good players in college football that we need to be looking out for in the next few years. That's going to be awesome. They're going to be great. They may have to lift the rule to where, freshmen can come straight out of college and go right into the NFL. I don't know if that's going to happen ever, but it may happen. I think right now you can be a sophomore and come out, but they may have to lift it to another year and say a freshman can come out too. But with these NIL deals, it's no guarantee that that's going to happen. But it's a conversation that can be had. So Ryan Williams, you are a dog. Welcome to the Dogs. Now we got your teammate in here, Justin Verlander. Your teammate has been playing phenomenal. And it's with just due that we get to talk about what this pitcher has been doing for your team that you have failed to do in your last 10 games. Framber Valdez. Since the All-Star break early in the season, he's had a 5-0 record, 2.06 ERA, 49 strikeouts, and 11 walks. On the season, at that time, he was 13-5 with a record of 3.2 ERA this year. In that game, he allowed only 3 hits, 0 earned runs, and a walk with 9 strikeouts and 7 innings pitched. And another win in 7 innings pitched. He allowed no hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Balling. His past 8 starts and 52 innings pitched, 63 strikeouts, 2.24 ERA, and a .94 WA, a 0.94 WHIP. This season, he's 14-6. His ERA is 5th in the majors right now, along with his record. 153 strikeouts, which is not a lot, of course, in this season, but top 15 in WHIP. Framber Valdez is another one of these guys that have been playing very well for his team this year. Hasn't always led to a win, of course, but that's not due to his fault. He's played phenomenal this year. His ERA is low. Astros are in position to be in the playoffs because of this guy, because of other guys on this team. But he is definitely one of the reasons why the Astros are where they are. It's Framber Valdez, not Justin Verlander. So, Justin Verlander, this is just a note to you that while you're in the doghouse, you get to watch one of your teammates be praised and talk about highly. Something that's happened for you before and something that can happen to you again. You just got to start playing better. And it's not too late because you got a couple games, some key games are going to come up in this season that will help you guys in playoff position as far as being a wild card. And we'll see what happens with you guys. But Framber Valdez, you a dog. All right, as we get a few more to talk about, it's another young fella who's come out of nowhere and is just running through everybody right now. And we know that this team is known for making some news in college football. Playing, and they're 1-1 right now. It's not like they're undefeated, but this guy is running like he's angry. Like he wants to break a record. He is on pace to break a record that hasn't been broken in a very long time in college football. He very well can have over 2,800 all-purpose yards as a runner in college football. 2,800, that's almost 3,000 all-purpose yards in college football. That young man is Ashton Genty, running back for Boise State University. In his very first game against Georgia Southern, he had 20 carries for 267 yards and 6 touchdowns. Let me rewind that back. I don't know if you heard me. 20 carries, 267 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And he had a 77-yard carry in that game. Now, his teammate had 12 carries for 110 yards and a touchdown. But he had 20 for 267 and 6 touchdowns. That is ridiculous to have 6 rushing touchdowns in a game. That is crazy. That is domination. Now, in the game against Oregon, even though his team lost, they lost 37-34 to Oregon. He had 25 carries for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns and another 70-yard run. He has 2 70-yard runs in 2 games. I wouldn't be surprised if he broke one for 80 in the next game. I really wouldn't. Ashton Genty has been balling for Boise State in these first 2 weeks of college football. Well, first 3 weeks, kind of, sort of. but he's been balling. He's been doing what he's supposed to do. And my goodness, I think some people need to watch out for this guy. And just imagine what I think is without cause that he can definitely be in the Heisman conversation if he continues to run the ball like this and Boise State starts to win some games. I understand that he lost the game to Oregon, who was number 7 in the country, but Boise State can make some noise if he continues to run like this and they play well and win games. My goodness. Ashton Genty, you a dog, man. Continue to do what you're doing, help Boise State win, and continue to run people over on that blue field. Welcome to the Dogs. And now, of course, I can't get through this without talking about my favorite candidate out of this. And this is my quarterback that we got, who was, who came over from Washington State, who was originally going to be in the NFL draft this year, and he decided, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to the University of Miami and play quarterback for this team, who has a chance to make some things change, who are now ranked top 10 in the country, highest ranked since 2020. Cam Ward. Cam Ward had 2 amazing games so far. In a game against Florida on the road in the swamp, 26 for 35, 385 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and interception, and QBR of 96. Cam Ward had a phenomenal game in that game. He looked very comfortable in the pocket. He was able to make plays with his legs when he needed to. Off his back foot, across the body, it doesn't matter. He made some tough throws. He made a really good throw to Xavier Restrepo where he spun and went and ran in for a touchdown. He threw another touchdown in the back of the end zone to Jacoby George, where it looked like it was a very accurate throw. Cam Ward, as Carl would say, in Cam, I trust. And that's exactly how I feel now. I was excited when we got him finally through the transfer portal, and he seems to be the answer that we've needed for a very long time. We got talent around him as far as receivers. We got Damian Martinez as the running back, Mark Fletcher, of course, who had a really good game against Florida as well. And Xavier Restrepo, who had 7 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown in that game. But Cam Ward led the charge. And then against FAMU, I mean, it's FAMU. I expected him to have another good game, and he did. 20 for 26, 304 yards passing, another 3 touchdown games, 92 QBR. He balled, man. He did what he needed to do. He even had a rushing touchdown in this game where he looked like he was, he dove over the guy looking like Superman. Now, I know there's only one Superman in the NFL called Cam, and it's Cam Newton. We get it. We know who you are, Cam, but this Cam is our Superman. Right now, he's playing like that, and we have a really good chance to make a run this year with all the talent we have. Ruben Bain on the defense. We got some guys that are flying around right now and are helping us get us to where we are. And it's a great job by Cam Ward. So, Cam Ward, continue to do what you do for the U, and welcome to the Dogs. And last but not least, we get to talk about this team. We already talked about teammates from this team, and this team has just been playing well. And they were put here before, and I think right now is another really good time to really be talking about them because they have played phenomenal, and they are now one of the best teams in the WNBA, especially at home. The Indiana Fever. Indiana Fever are now in the playoffs for the first time since 2016, which was tied for the longest drought in league history. That is awesome for this team. They looked like they were not going to be in position to be there, and they are now in the playoffs, which is crazy to say. And for the Indiana Fever, there's no place like home. They are 10-1 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse since June 1st. 10-1 since June 1st. They're not losing at home. This is the first time in 5 years they've actually had a winning record. First time in 5 years. In August, this is what the team did. This is after the All-Star break. They just continue. They showed some promise and showed you guys why they are one of the better teams in the WNBA right now. And they're going to make some noise in this playoffs. And be careful who they play against, because they're going to come out firing. The Indiana Fever in August have a 5-1 record. We had a 5-1 record, had the Rookie of the Month, the Player of the Month, and the Coach of the Month. Now, who was the Rookie of the Month? Of course, it was Caitlin Clark. Who was the Player of the Month? Do I need to say any names? Indiana Fever deserve to be talked about. They are in the playoff picture now because of Aaliyah Boston, because of Kelsey Mitchell, because of their head coach, because of Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever are going to make some noise. They already have in the regular season, and they're going to do so in the postseason as well. So watch out for the Indiana Fever, whoever has to play against them in the playoffs. Doesn't matter who it is to me. Watch out for them. This team is going to make some noise, and they are coming to steal some games. So watch out for the Indiana Fever because they are now in the playoffs. Indiana Fever, welcome to the Dogs, and you are the big dogs of the week. That is it for the show. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning in, for all that tuned in. Thank you, Theo, my brother from college. I appreciate you for tuning in and being a subscriber to the show. I appreciate you, my guy. Y'all have a great day. See you guys next time. I will be back tomorrow at noon for another show, but I will be back later today at 7 p.m. on the R2L channel talking about some football, of course, because the NFL is here and we get to talk about some things that we love. So until then, see you guys next time. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.
My guy, you in the doghouse.